I am here with Face to Face Wrestling's Richard Borger. Richard Borger, he is promoting, I believe this is the first independent wrestling event in Barbados this coming week. Richard, how are you doing?
Great, Raj. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. This Brugga Down Barbados, this Saturday, March 7th, it's at the Garfield Sobers Gymnasium. You got some big names on this show.
Yeah, we were approached a while back, mid last year, I think, about putting on a show in Barbados, and I thought, oh boy, that's kind of a venture, and so we took it on, and in time we thought we'd run it in November. It ended up getting canceled, and we thought we'd bring it back in March, and yeah, we've got a really good card. We had some other people slated for our other show. You've got the Rajback thing going. I'll give Glenn that one. So yeah, Ryback was actually going to be on our other show, but he couldn't make this one, unfortunately. Maybe we'll get him next time. But yeah, we've got some pretty big names. Marty Scurll going up against PJ Black. Now Brian Cage is injured, but Brian's still going to be there. We'll see what ends up happening with him. Flip and Matt Sydal, I think, is going to be a good one. I met Flip Gordon, I want to say a couple months ago when they were in Atlanta, and I asked him, if he could wrestle anybody, who would he want to go against? And Sydal was the first name that popped in mind. So clearly, that's a good one. He said his story was that him and Sydal had a match, and that was why ROH picked him up, was his tryout match with Matt Sydal. So we'll give him that rematch in Barbados. They haven't wrestled since.
Wow. Yeah, that should be wild. You also got PJ Black versus Marty Scurll, Melina versus Renee Michelle. So Brian Cage, will he be able to wrestle, did you say, or he'll be there?
Now he'll be there tentatively. Right now, we're not sure. We're still waiting to hear what the reports are on his arm next week. So it's up in the air. We'll see what happens, but he is going to be there, and of course, his lovely wife is there, going to be doing the ring announcing for us. So
yeah,
who would want to miss it? And in Barbados, the first time ever that wrestling's been there, so it should definitely be a good show.
Yeah, you got Tyrus, Carlito, Chris Masters. You mentioned Matt Sydal versus Flip Gordon. Randy Reno and Simon Sermon versus Ivory Wolf. Seth Fatu versus Alex Ross. Heidi Katrina versus Savannah Abbott. So, this is a loaded card. How has it been organizing this?
In all honesty, it's been relatively smooth. PJ Black is a really good friend of mine and has done a great job with helping me out. So it's kind of a partnership between me and him. He helps me with the booking and with a lot of the connections that I don't have, especially with the ROH guys. And yeah, as far as the talent goes, it's been really seamless. All of these guys are great. We made sure that we had all people that were great in the locker room. And I think that it's stacking up to be pretty good. But on a note, you said Simon's name wrong. Simon, the first openly gay professional wrestler. I think Simon he's been openly gay ever since he started wrestling, I think about 17, 18 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, he's that one, I'm telling you, you look at his picture, when you see that guy wrestle, you're going to wonder why he's never been on TV.
Oh, yeah, we'll definitely be looking forward to that. That's, 17, 18 years, and he's been out the whole time?
Yeah, he's never wrestled. He's never been on TV. None of the promotions had picked him up. He's hands down probably the best character worker in probably the entire East Coast, if not the West Coast. It's just one of those things you're going to have to see. He's got an extraordinary career outside of wrestling, which is another reason why you don't see him on a lot of coasts. But yeah, and 46 years old, I think he turned this year. So. Yeah. It's he's had a really good career, but I'm telling you, if anything is going to shock you on that card for a match, that will be the most entertaining match you will see of the night.
Yeah, and you, for your day job, you're running Face to Face Wrestling. How has that been going?
2.5 years. Started out with the wrestling school. Heath Slater and Teddy Long are my partners. Of course, Ron Simmons takes part in it here and there when he gets free time. But yeah, it's been amazing. We run little local shows here and there in Georgia, but I think that our mainstay for now is going to be these international shows. Our next show is going to set to be in China at the end of the year, but I think we'll avoid that one for now. Wait till things simmer down.
Yeah, I know. If you want to travel, go to Barbados, because right now, New Japan canceling events. Disneyland Japan, it's closed down at least for 2 weeks. Major League Baseball, the baseball events in Japan right now, basically playing in front of an empty stadium. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's been insane. I mean, this when you have something happen and nobody knows how long it sits on a tabletop, and it's not just spread by common contraction through coughing and stuff like that. It's definitely something to be concerned about. But in talking to like Barbados, for instance, they're not really concerned about it. We've talked to all of our guys headed into the show. Everybody's taking precautions on flights and everything to make sure that, and beforehand to make sure that we're all clear and everything is good. So we don't want to take anything anywhere, and we don't want to bring anything back. And so we're taking all the measures that we need to ensure that this is the safest show that we can possibly put on.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, the world of wrestling, a lot going on. When we're recording this, Goldberg just won the WWE Universal Championship. Backlash Online. It's one of those weird things. I think it makes the WrestleMania card stronger. These matches are better than what they had before, in my opinion. But I do get building up a character like The Fiend and then having him lose to, a part-timer. I don't know. It's this vicious cycle WWE keeps finding themselves in.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, I watch, they've got a ton of talent on the roster, and there was a recent report come out that they're saying that guys in the back, this stuff's going to be less scripted for them. Look, we both know that's BS. It's just not going to happen. They're too, they're control freaks. And yeah, raising a character up like The Fiend, who is, talk about character. There's nobody right now, I think, better with their work than him, and getting it over. And a while back we saw, the red lights, when he was wrestling, and now we've seen that tone down, and we're seeing things change for him gradually. I think it's a bad move. I think it's a really stupid move on behalf of WWE to be giving Goldberg the title when they could have easily built between now and Mania a solid story between, if it's going to be Roman, him and Roman, and then if the title was to get passed on, then do it there between those two. But I don't think Goldberg was a necessity. I think they could have used him against somebody else, and then given somebody else a push that really needs it, because The Fiend doesn't need it and Roman doesn't need it either.
Yeah, I felt like The Fiend never needed the title to begin with. So
no.
If you never had that, you never have him lose to Goldberg, build him up down the road, he gets the title shot, it'll be huge. But to give him right off the bat, you don't give The Undertaker the belt 3 weeks in. No. You build that character for a while. So right. It's just this lack of planning. I think it just kind of throws itself in WWE's face sometimes.
Yeah, I don't think I don't know that they plan. I mean, you've been in this business for a lot longer than I've been in this business. As far as you doing the podcast and you doing the show and owning the site, me on the side that I'm on. I've got friends there, and I've been backstage, and I can tell you it's literally an up to the minute change. I've seen guys sit there and just be ready to not do anything the whole night, and then 3 minutes before main event comes on, hey, you're going against this guy, get out there. And it's insane. I've never seen anything like it in my life professionally. And to see a company that's a stock market company worth billions operating that way sometimes just baffles me. I can't believe that they're doing it. But we'll see. XFL with Vince taking a lot of time for that, and who knows. Heyman's doing a lot of stuff backstage, and hopefully it gets better. But for the foreseeable future, I don't see it.
Yeah, you think the XFL getting a good TV deal and actually working out? You think that's the best thing for wrestling because it gets Vince a little more hands off? Or it won't do it year round. It'll do it for a few months. But right now, are we really seeing a difference right now? Yeah.
It's
that's true.
The pipe dream.
Right. Also, this week, AEW, they've been combating with WWE. They got, by the time this is going to be out there, the Revolution pay-per-view would have happened. What are your thoughts on AEW and where they're at and the alternative that they're presenting?
They're definitely alternative. They've got guys on there that if you would have told me 6 months ago I would be interested in watching it all, I would have told you were on something. Orange Cassidy. When I first saw that, I was like, there's just absolutely no way. and the advantage they have is they've got a bunch of guys that can really go.
Yeah.
But where I think they have a shortage, I think they have a shortage of characters. I think they have a lot of people that need a lot of build up still. You can take these guys like Pac and Cody and the Bucks, and you can put them all out there. But I mean, their win-loss record, I think that really hurts them in helping to build these guys up. Because I think if you do a traditional storyline where you've got a win or a loss here and there for guys, I don't think it really works out. I think it really ends up hurting them in the end. So, we'll see what they end up doing with that. But I think that right now they're not in a bad spot with the talk of them getting the second show deal. We'll see. We'll see if TNT actually goes through with it. But they're okay for now.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like every time you add a second show, it kind of hurts both in the long run. Yeah. We saw it with Thunder. Once SmackDown was added, it brought Raw down. You started seeing the decline. It wasn't as rapid as a decline as when you had Thunder and Nitro. But one thing, because you are running a wrestling school with Hall of Famers, the style of wrestling today, I watch AEW and I enjoy like the promos and the characters, but a lot of the stuff people consider good matches these days, like they had Kenny Omega versus Pac. And they did some very cool stuff, but man, like you do a brain buster off the top or whatever it was, and you kick out at 2. All that says is that move doesn't hurt that much. Then you're doing all these crazy moves that look like they should kill you, and then you kick out at 2. That just drives me nuts.
The other problem that they're going to run into is there's going to come a point where they're going to do something like that. One of those guys is going to get injured. They're out for 6 months to a year. You're taking out, a key cog in what you have is, they don't have a massive roster. And if they go into a second show and they keep doing things like that on a consistent basis and somebody gets hurt, it's going to be a major problem for them because you take out a Pac or even right now an Orange Cassidy or a Darby Allin, who's I think is coming up big, Hangman, any of those guys, Omega, you take one of the key guys out and they've got some real problems, especially with a second show.
Yeah. I think you do a brain buster off the top, man, do a stretcher job. It just makes it the move. It sells the move. It's dramatic. People buy it. It's scary. But kicking out at 2, I don't know, drives me nuts.
They should never kick out. They should never kick out. I would come out of the staging area and literally cut the match off right then if I saw any of my guys do any stupid stuff like that. But then we're like, we train characters, which is what we do. So we're more character driven and more old school style because it's a different beast, right? WWE, you go in and you try out and you have to know the old school stuff. They run you through the old school drills. And if you can't do that stuff in sequence the way they want it, you're just not passing the tryout. You go to AEW, they're different, right? Their standards are significantly different. So the people that are gonna go and initially try out that aren't names for either one, it's not the same crop of people. One person going to WWE is not going to go to AEW if they're being seriously looked at and get taken. It's just not. It's just a different beast.
Yeah, I think a lot of people that wouldn't have tried a wrestling school before because they were too small or whatever. Now you're seeing Marco Stunt. Is getting a lot of TV time, but you're getting like people of all sizes now can make it on some level. So it's like that should no longer be a deterrent, right? When you're going to a wrestling school, or should it?
Well, I mean, you take it like a lot of people think. I use Big E for instance, right? Big E is like a wall, but the dude's not that tall.
Right.
He's just, people look at him and they're like, oh my God, the guy's got to be like 6 foot, 6'2", somewhere like that. Yeah. The guy doesn't touch 6 foot with lifts.
Oh, I've stood next to him. He wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 6'1". When I stand next to these guys, they're right. So, I mean, it's not sizes. I think you get into the Daniel Bryans and stuff like that, who are traditionally considered now. Were considered small guys when they came in. No, I mean that shouldn't be a deterrent to be in the 5, I don't know, 5'4" to 5'10" range. Because there are just so many of those guys out there. Marco Stunt, I'll have to kind of stick with Matt Morgan on that one. I don't get it. I've seen the guy live wrestle. He's great. Like you see the little dude come out and he's flipping all over the place, and it's really cute to watch him. But none of what he does is believable when he's doing it to anybody in the ring that's not 4'3".
Right.
I mean, it just you can't believe it, and you see guys taking brain busters off the top, and you're like, okay, if they did that to him, what's supposed to happen? The guy should never get up, right? He's hospitalized for the next 2 years. That's a storyline.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's a great kid. I know some guys that know him very well, but storyline believability, I don't get it with him.
Yeah. You mentioned how you've been at WWE events. You've been backstage at the television tapings, right? What is that process like? Like, is Vince? Do you even see Vince, or is he just kind of in his office the whole time?
No, I mean Vince will come in and out, and and when Vince walks by, there are periods of time he'll come by and he'll, hey guys, and then they just walk on, But that's about all from our perspective we get. But when he's walking out, when he sees his boys back there, he's talkative, and he'll joke with them, stuff like that. So he's got a great personality back there with his guys, and you can when he comes out, if it's somebody that's not real happy with him, or he's not real happy with, because they'll just kind of put their head down, and that's about it. But no, I mean Vince is he's $1 billion company owner. I think he's handling that business as far as his interactions backstage like any business owner of that size would handle it.
Yeah. And then in general, as far as the talent, are they usually just hanging out backstage? Are they trying out moves in the ring?
No, I mean, we were there. I can't remember which pay-per-view it was. We were at with where was it? It was in North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, recently. And we're backstage, and Becky's back there doing her stuff, and they're back there going through their stuff and talking to each other, and the conversations are definitely good. You've got the agents going over things with them, and but they stay mostly active. I mean, I can see where the guys get really bored, that people are having to show up at 2:00 in the afternoon and sitting there for a few hours before anything starts coming down, and then the massive change they do, except for the top guys that you see. Roman, he knows when he's going on, and Daniel Bryan knows where he's going on. But you get into the mid card guys, and it's hectic. I mean, they're kind of just all over the place, running around and seeing if they can get a spot. And I don't blame them.
Yeah, and you'll see they'll change a match like that was announced earlier in the day, and then it's completely changed by the time you watch the show on TV. So
that's the 5th change too. That's what you don't know. They did that change, but there were 4 changes in between that one and the one they ended up with. But I mean, it is what it is. I wish they would go back to the storylines. I think you've got the Fiend now. I think they should be, giving him a little more freedom and creativity. Matt Hardy, I wish that they would. I mean, the reports, that I see, I think you guys put it out too. The potential of Hardy, if he was to re-sign with WWE, is that he goes to NXT. I really hope he does. I hope Matt Hardy re-signs, and I hope he goes to NXT, because I think if with what they allow them to do in NXT, he would kill it.
Yeah.
And I think that, but then again, I mean, if he goes to AEW, what are they going to do? Put him up with the Dark Order, another faction, which they already had one dark faction, right, Brandy's, that they just one day forgot about.
Right.
So
it was probably for the better.
Yeah, it was definitely for the better. But I mean, what are they going to do with him? Matt's a genius. He knows what he's doing. He's developed these characters before. He's been in the industry so long, and he doesn't need the money. But when you're being offered that kind of money, you may not need it, but it's generational then. Because Then you're talking about, it's not money for me, it's money for the next generation of my family to live off of and not have to worry about it. So as much as people like to say, oh, Matt doesn't need the money, that's a crock. Everybody, when it comes to those kind of funds, AEW is not going to kick him out anywhere near what WWE is. It's just, the AEW contracts that they're offering people. I've heard people say that, they're giving them, NXT money or better. They're not even coming close to NXT money or better. So it's just not happening. And I think that, yes, in AEW he'll do good. I think that that's the key to them getting a second show and being halfway successful with it is Matt Hardy. I think if Matt Hardy doesn't go there, that second show is not launching anytime soon, because they really need him and his creative mind backstage. that's where he's going to benefit him the most is in storylines for everybody, I think.
Yeah. I mean, Matt Hardy had something really hot with that broken gimmick, and I knew that would not work in WWE, and it didn't.
Well, they won't let him. They won't let him do it.
Yeah, so. Exactly. That's the reason, right? Is if to me, I don't know Vince McMahon. I've talked with everyone else, but I don't talk to Vince. But you could tell that's something he doesn't get, and he's not going to push it. If he doesn't get it, he's not going to push it. He gets Undertaker, he gets Stone Cold. He doesn't get, the broken stuff.
Well, those are simple though, right? I mean, when you think of the Undertaker and you think of and you put the thought process into it, it's a simple concept. Stone Cold is a simple concept. The Rock is a simple concept, right? Everything that he does. Right. But then you start getting into like the intricacies of broken. And it's not, which is why I'm so amazed that they've let The Fiend go for as long as they have, because you would think like they would have killed that so quick the way they broke it.
I do think they've been hurting it. Like I thought at SummerSlam when he debuted, normal lighting, it was awesome. Then they had to put all these tweaks, the red lighting, and then the music always hitting whenever he appears, and the sound effects when he's doing a promo, like the stuff with Goldberg, and you have the zoinks and stuff going on. It just takes away from the intensity of a promo. It's just getting too cute, and it kind of fudged it up. It didn't kill it, but it did hurt it, and I'd like to, hopefully they can get it back on track.
You got to give it to Goldberg, though. I mean, because that's all pre-recorded, and Goldberg was right on point with that promo. Like, he knew exactly where his spots were. Everything looked good on his stuff. So, I mean, props to Goldberg for being able to run with a pre-record like that, because he did a really good job. And I'm sure he had somebody cueing him. And if he didn't, even more props, because it's, you see a lot of guys get in there on those pre-records, and you can tell, that they're off by a little bit.
Yeah. One of the great things with Goldberg is he sounds real, too, which is, in the days of the scripted promos, it's hard to find. So it's refreshing.
Well, we're just happy he didn't give himself a concussion again before he went out to wrestle in Saudi Arabia, right?
Yeah. No, he wasn't running into poles or anything this time, so that was good. Well, Richard, thanks again. Thanks for joining us. Down Barbados, in Barbados, Garfield Sobers Gymnasium. First time ever pro wrestling in Barbados. We discussed it earlier, a stacked lineup. And then also the face-to-face wrestling school. Tell people how they can join.
Yeah, so if you go to face2facewrestling.com, it's the number 2, so face, the number 2, facewrestling.com. All the information's there about the school. We've been in business for 2.5 years. We've got people going up for NXT tryouts the week right after we get back from Barbados. So we've got one girl who's going back for her second tryout. She'll probably get signed. We've obviously we make sure that we get people in there for extra spots. We are an old school training facility. We make sure that when we're training people, it's not a streamlined training process, because just like any type of education, nobody learns at the same pace. So we make sure that everybody is taught at their own pace. And I think that it's worked out better for us. So, yeah, if you want to contact us, face2facewrestling.com, or you can hit us up on any social media.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Richard. Everyone, check it out. And if you can make it to Barbados, that is going to be an awesome show. The first time ever. It'll be a part of history. So check it out. And thank you again, Richard.
Thanks, Raj.